Cinema. Absolute cinema. So I have just gotten back from watching the new Chainsaw Man movie, and it has been a very long time since I watched a movie, an anime movie, and just immediately wanted to give my unfiltered, unscripted opinion about it. But this was one of the exceptions because I absolutely love this movie. It's been such a long time since I've had an experience like that. And I just wanted to glaze it for a little bit. I don't have enough honey in the world for the glazing session I want to give to this new movie, but it just reminded me of why I bloody love anime in the first place and why I love this medium so much. So yeah, this is the latest adaptation of the Chainsaw Man franchise, which follows along the recent trend of big shonen action shows adapting their newest arcs into movies. Obviously, Demon Slayer Mugen Train proved how successful the formula could be financially and critically as well. And I think we've come a long way from there because while those early days felt like here is a movie that feels like 5 episodes stitched together back to back to back to back, with the newest Demon Slayer movie, and especially with this Chainsaw Man movie, it really does feel like a proper film. It feels like the full package. This was a cinematic experience, and a complete one at that as well. And it's something where I do genuinely feel that I would have missed out by not experiencing this in cinemas, because the production values and just the whole scale of this adaptation just feels like something that should belong in theaters. Now, I actually went in this completely blind. I haven't read further along in the manga, and the reason for that was because I saw how good of a job Mappa were doing with the adaptation that I wanted to hold off to experience the future of Chainsaw Man for the first time in anime form, and I am so glad that I did. Because I don't know what devil Tatsuki Fujimoto sold his soul to ensure that every one of his works gets a god-level adaptation, and this was right up there. So this movie can basically be split up into 2 halves. The first half is much more quieter, much more slow-paced, dealing with Denji going on dates with Makima, and also him meeting this new girl, Reze, a girl who can essentially match his freak, someone he gets along with immediately. And a lot of the first half is him weighing his love for Makima and this new girl that gets introduced. And this all comes before the action-packed second half. Now, for a shonen action movie, I was quite surprised at how long it took for any of the big action set pieces to kick in, which might put some people off, but I was so glad that they actually took ample time to get you invested in these characters and the setup that they were going for. It really did give time to show off some of Chainsaw Man's biggest strengths, because Denji is fast becoming one of my favorite modern shonen protagonists, or at least one of the most interesting, because here is a 16-year-old teenage boy who genuinely does feel like a 16-year-old teenage boy. Not only that, but he's one that's been outcasted, one that's been alone, someone who is figuring himself out. He's not this heroic icon right now. He's apathetic, he's outcasted, he's confused, and a lot of the times his motivations and his life decisions are dictated by his hormones. There's this one moment that hit a little bit too close to home for me, and it's this scene where Denji is talking to Reze, and Reze is this really charming, outspoken girl. She's a little bit quirky as well, and she's giving him physical contact, she's laughing at him, and it's the first time Denji has experienced this kind of attention. And Denji just thinks to himself, damn, does this girl like me? Shit, maybe I like her as well. Damn, you know what? Maybe I like 2 girls in my life. And I'm like, oh God. Man, it just brought flashbacks of teenage Garn getting the smallest amount of teenage attention and thinking, you know what? Maybe I'm kind of into this girl. But that's what makes him feel so real. He is someone with such little life experience, someone who hasn't figured everything out yet. He's just learning how to process the people and world around him, which is such a shame for him that some of his biggest role models right now are just using that confusion to straight up manipulate him. Which is why I think the scenes that left the biggest impression on me weren't even some of the big bombastic action scenes, which we will get to, but some of the more quieter, serene scenes. I really want to talk about the pool scene. Oh my god, the pool scene. This scene perfectly encapsulates why I really, really love this movie and why I am really starting to become the Chainsaw Man fan I thought I was going to be. Like, this is a scene that starts off with a bit of comedy, with Denji getting naked, everyone starts laughing, and I think to myself, oh boy, here's another scene for the Chainsaw Man's son. I see what you're doing. And then the scene starts and you can just feel a pin drop because everyone in the theater was just absolutely mesmerized. It was such a beautiful sequence where even though there was nudity in it, it never felt sexualized. In fact, it felt more like something innocent and something freeing. You don't just see, but you feel Denji falling in love, real love. It was such a pure depiction of teenage romance. It really did capture that feeling of finding a first love, which makes it all the more tragic that this one moment of pure bliss and innocence was so short-lived. And that's why I think the ending hit so hard for me. The pool scene, the fireworks scene, it really set the stakes for this story, for the tragedy that was going to unfold. And it really does set the groundwork for the second half, because when the second half hits, when the Bomb Devil gets introduced, they put their foot on the gas and they do not stop until the credits roll. My jaw was on the floor and it stayed there the entire time because there just wasn't any time to pick it back up. It is a pure action spectacle on every single level, and it is some of MAPPA's best work in my opinion. Like, on a technical perspective, this is not only one of the best animated things MAPPA has done, but one of the most visually interesting as well. There were some great things going on with the storyboarding and the use of colors as well. This was a really, really colorful film. I also really liked some of the use of inventive camera angles as well, like whenever they go to a first-person perspective to really put you at ground zero in terms of the chaos of everything that was unfolding. And there's a sequence where the Chainsaw Man fights the Typhoon Devil, and that is just some mind-bending animation that's just witnessing that in theaters. This is one of the few films I actually want to rewatch, and I think I am going to rewatch in IMAX because I want to experience this in the best possible way it can be. In terms of a visual spectacle, I put this right up there with Demon Slayer, and I didn't think that that was a bar that could be reached. Also, I want to give a shout out to Kensuke Ushio, who absolutely killed it with this soundtrack. Kensuke Ushio has been one of my favorite composers for a while. He is definitely top 3 anime composers for me, and he just doesn't miss in anything that he does. Not only with the high intensity action scenes, but even the more somber songs that just tug at your soul, man. Oh, it's so good. Because again, for such an action-focused piece, it was able to tie everything emotionally at the end. And I think the big reason for that is because this is just such a great cast of characters. I didn't mention this before, but this was a genuinely funny film. And there were some jokes and some laughs that were hit right in the middle of these high-intensity action scenes. And most of it comes from the fact that pretty much everyone in Chainsaw Man is just a fucking weirdo. I think in my original Chainsaw Man review, I said that watching Chainsaw Man was like watching the cast of Always Sunny take place in a shonen action show, and I definitely felt that with some of the banter that was going on. I don't think Tatsuki Fujimoto is able to write a normal character. But what he also did prove is that you don't always need to know everything about a character's backstory to get me to really care about someone. Like, I was genuinely emotionally invested in Reze's character and journey. Like, she's someone who gets introduced and is instantly charming and interesting based on just her personality. And the only backstory we get is maybe one sentence right at the end of the film and her very last line. And to me, that was more than enough, because instead of being told everything she's gone through and everything that she's thinking or feeling, we have to kind of infer it through these subtle character moments, through the way she delivers certain lines. And this is the kind of feeling I get when I watch a real actor portray a character in a live action movie, you know, watching for those small, subtle character acting moments. That to be able to achieve that in anime is just fucking beautiful, man. So yeah, by the time the credits rolled, I was fully sold on the Chainsaw Man franchise. I'm a Chainsaw Man fan now, guys. I enjoyed season 1, but it didn't leave that big of an impact on me, mostly because I don't think it had the time to leave that big of an impact on me. But now with this new movie, I am so looking forward to what the story brings next, because I see it only going up from here. I see it only going crazier from here. And if this movie is leaving this big of an impact on me right now, I do not know what the future holds for future adaptations, but I hope to God it is an adaptation that is worthy on what the Chainsaw Man Reze arc has given us. So yeah, that was my unfiltered ramblings about the Chainsaw Man movie. This might not have been as coherent as my usual scripted reviews, but I've been Gigguk. That was the Chainsaw Man movie, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.